Hello there. Chatbots and voice assistants are one of the most important tools in today's and especially in tomorrow's world. But who are the people that make them work? The conversation designers. Today we have a special guest from the Netherlands, from Amsterdam, Geertina Hamstra. She's a chatbot strategist and lead conversation designer for Entopic. How are you, Geertina?
Hi, thank you. I'm doing fine, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
You have 15 years of experience of designing chatbots. How did it all started?
Well, it started actually by accident because my friend's brother had this tech company, and back in the day, Windows Live Messenger or MSN was a really popular platform, and they decided to develop some kind of bot for it. So it was like a keyword triggered bots. You could ask for traffic jams, you could ask for the weather or to tell a joke, and they called that bot Ask Alice. And after 2 days, the database collapsed because so many people were asking other stuff than the keyword triggers.
Wow.
For instance, who are you? They started cussing Alice because she couldn't answer those kind of questions, the simple questions. So the guys thought, okay, we need someone to create these answers for us. And from there on, my adventure started with actually hundreds of meters of Excel with all the questions asked where there were no answers to. So I started with categorizing all the questions. What do people ask? Why do people cuss? Why do people ask follow-up questions, etc.? So that is where I start with World of Alice. And we ended up translating Alice in 5 different languages. So Alice went worldwide, and she had at the highest point, she had 5 million unique users all over the world.
Per month? Per year?
Overall.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
You had like more than 100 chatbots, if I remember right. What is the one you're most proud of?
The one I'm most proud of is the one which cost me the most energy. Okay. That was the Sweetie 2.0 chatbot. That was a virtual 10-year-old Filipinian girl who was used to detect webcam child sex tourism. So this was a virtual girl who went online to identify offenders in chat rooms.
Wow!
And that was it's a project that's still ongoing. So I was privileged to lay the baseline for it, and this project is still ongoing and still catching potential sex offenders online.
Oh, amazing! That's a use case I actually didn't think of, but it's so like, whew, that mind-blowing. What is the most important thing for a chatbot or a voice assistant from your experience?
The most important thing well, actually 2 things. One is, and there's a lot of debate on that, is the first thing is that I think every chatbot needs to have a personality or a character. For multiple reasons. For instance, if you are writing with more than one conversation designer on a chatbot, it is really important to have an extensive character written for this bot. Because you and I are 2 different persons, and if you and I should have to write for a chatbot, we need to do it in a similar way. So we have to align tone of voice, etc. So when you make a good bot persona, then multiple people can write on the right way for a chatbot. And the other thing is always have a good fallback option. So for a larger company, that means live chat maybe. And for smaller companies, that could even mean if a chatbot cannot answer the question, to have the bot ask, do you want to leave your email or your phone number so we can contact you afterwards? So I think a question should always have an answer.
Okay, healthcare bots, let's talk about them. They're becoming more and more popular these days. Why is this happening?
Well, I think healthcare is becoming increasingly expensive, and in general, people would like to have more and more personal contact with their general practitioner or about their problem. We're educated more, so we tend to ask more questions. So I think that healthcare chatbots can help with educating people or even starting a conversation about some kind of problem they have. For instance, for a general practitioner, but also in mental health, they can help.
Yeah, today with the coronavirus and so many people quarantined, healthcare chatbots are also an essential way of like doctors to keep in touch with the customers,
Exactly.
the patients. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And studies show also that people are more comfortable telling personal things to a chatbot than, for instance, a real person.
Which leads us to like a hilarious anecdote I remember from our healthcare meetup. So tell us about like the funniest thing, most awkward thing that happened to you, like as a conversation designer.
As a conversation designer, well, as a conversation designer, I tend to test a lot of chatbots, of course. And one day I was testing one of my old older, no, well, I call them babies because when you're working 6 years on a chatbot, they're become like your children or your part of the family or something. So so one day I was testing this chatbot, which went over to a new platform and to another provider. So I was testing and said, oh, I thought, could it answer this question or that question? And it was a pension fund. So in general, a real boring subject. So I was asking around, and also I asked the question, okay, what if my partner died? What happens with my pension? And then I was directly forwarded to a person. So someone came to me and said, oh, I'm sorry, your partner died, etc., etc. And I felt really embarrassed because I was just testing the thing. So I immediately started apologizing and say, okay, I'm sorry, I am so-and-so, and I'm just testing. This was one of my babies you were taking over, and I was just curious on how the chatbot was doing. And it went quiet for a while on the other side, and then an answer came. So from a person who was also there, and he said, Edwin asks if you are Geertina. So apparently the colleague I worked closely together with from that company was also in the room, and they asked around, and so that ended up in a real fun conversation with the person I worked together. So
Okay.
that was nice.
There was also a great story you told then about Bibi, one of your chatbots.
Yeah. We created a chatbot for a general practitioner, which could answer all kinds of questions about general health. So I have a headache. Then Bibi would say, okay, I'm sorry you have a headache, but for how long did you have the headache? So, and then she could say, okay, now it's time to call your general practitioner to make an appointment. Or she could say, okay, this is a real severe case. You should go to the hospital. And we put a lot of empathy in that chatbot on the right points. So apparently people bonded with her. And the doctor had more and more experiences with patients coming to the counter and saying to the assistant there, can I talk to Bibi, because she already knows what I have. So that was really a great compliment.
Today, people are not coming to this conversation design profession by accident, as it happened to you. If someone wants to get in, what the tips or advice can you give him or her, for example? For sure.
First of all, I think you have to not only be conversation-minded, but also a little bit fond of the technique behind it, because there's a lot of technique involved in conversation design, in working with various different chatbot platforms. So you have to be curious about that too. And I think it's best to start with testing a lot of chatbots and seeing where they go wrong, or where you feel that a conversation can be improved, for instance. You could also look online for conversation design courses. There are many, and well, you could also go online and get in touch with conversation designers and ask them about their profession. I think if you interact with someone who's passionate about their work, then you can also see if it's something you would like to do.
Okay, we have the elevator pitch part. Tell us about Entopic, the company you work for.
Well, Entopic is a company which is a textile company. So my colleagues are all editors, online editors for larger companies especially in the Netherlands. And we write text for web and online. And also we advise in the strategy. And the nice thing is that in the past few years, I trained a lot of colleagues also in the craft of conversation design, which comes really handy with also UX writing and the upcoming voice technology, which is also very important for websites nowadays. And that is what we do. I am also a trainer in conversation design, and I advise companies on maybe they want a chatbot, maybe a chatbot is the right way for them, or sometimes a chatbot is not the right solution. So I'm an advisor on those kinds of trajectories, and I always also advise on which platform to use. For instance, I can train their own people, but Entopic can also deliver trained conversation designers for a certain period of time or longer.
Okay, so thank you a lot, Geertina Hamstra, conversation design and chatbot strategist for Entopic. It was great.
Thank you so much.
And for everybody watching, don't forget to check out our hub at CoCoHub.ai, the best place to build, test, and deploy your chatbots. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.